You're watching BCTV, Branford's community access station.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another Around the Town of Branford with Henry and Frank. I'm standing here in front of the new Legacy Theater at 128 Thimble Islands Road in Stony Creek. A dream has come true. This theater was originally built in 1903, and through the years, there's been many big stars, including Orson Welles. There's been all sorts of activities here at this playhouse. Going back to the old days, people would come to Stony Creek during July and August, summer vacations. They'd oyster in the thimbles, get the lobsters. Then they'd come in the evenings and enjoy live theater right here at this playhouse behind me. There was a lot of other playhouses on the shoreline, but this one is being brought back to life. We have theater options in the area right now, right? There's the Ivoryton Playhouse. There's the great Long Wharf Theater and their Stage 2. We also have Yale Rep. And now for the Shoreline, going to have its own theater. A dream has come true. This almost abandoned, almost condemned, derelict theater was brought back to life. And we're going to be going inside and showing you how it has been brought back to life. You won't believe it. Now, this program, Around the Town of Branford with Henry and Frank, along with another public access program on BCTV, Meet Your Neighbors. We both were down here to cover the groundbreaking of this theater restoration, June 6th, 2019. And so right now, what we're going to do is go back in time and show you a clip of the groundbreaking, June 6th, 2019. And then I'll be back, so stay with us.
At this point, I would like to invite each of our speakers and the Legacy Chair and any board members to come and take a shovel and a hard hat for a photo op of the official groundbreaking. There's our dirt. There's our shovel. Yes. Thank you each for being here. Please enjoy refreshments, take some literature about us, get in touch with me to become involved in any way, shape, or form. Thank you for accommodating the construction, and we will see you at the grand opening in 2020.
Okay, that was the groundbreaking ceremony, June 6th, 2019, and as you saw, our first selectman, Jamie Cosgrove, was there, and the two co-founders, the co-founder and board chair, Stephanie Stiefel William, and also the co-founder and artistic director, Keely Bayston Knutson. We'll be speaking to her later on today. But that was a great event. That was almost 2 years ago. That's the last time that I've been down here. I can't believe the transformation. This theater has an amazing history to it. As I said before, it was built in 1903. It was then used by various companies, various owners to perform summer stock. Then what happened was it became the property of the Weil family from Stony Creek, and what they did was they started to perform puppet shows down here. It was the Weil McGray Puppet House, and they started doing that in 1963, and they continued their puppet shows down here in Stony Creek on this very stage until the 1980s. At that time, this theater began to fall into disrepair. I believe at one time, towards the end of its reign, it was either going to be condemned. It was condemned. There were holes in the roof. It was just about to fall down, really. But then these two creative dynamos, the two people behind this restoration of this theater, they caught wind of this theater, and they incorporated the new Legacy Theater in 2011, 10 years ago. They've been working on this. And they actually bought the property, the old Stony Creek Puppet House, in 2013. As we just showed you, right, that they had the groundbreaking June 6, 2019. And then the topping off was held August 21st, 2020. So it's an unbelievable transformation of this theater. The outside you can see right now, it looks brand new, and we'll be taking you inside, and you're going to be seeing the theater up close, up front, and honestly, you won't believe it. It was about to fall down. If you looked into the theater prior to the restoration, it was all dark, black. You could see a few chairs here and there. It was terrible. But it's been totally transformed into a wonderful asset to the town, to Stony Creek, and it's going to be very, very busy. There's all kinds of activities that are scheduled by Stephanie Stiefel, William, and Keely Baston Knutson. Okay, so let's go inside right now, and we're going to take you through the new Legacy Theater, transformed from the scrap heap to what it is today. Stay with us as Around the Town of Branford with Henry and Frank continues. Okay, we're just about to go inside, but I'm standing in front of the Artist's Cottage here on the campus of the Legacy Theater in Stony Creek. It's all going to be fixed up as well. There's going to be one artist that's going to stay here on the campus, to work on their own plays, future productions here at the Legacy Theater. Just want to talk about a coronavirus impact, to the theater. I don't know whether it really slowed them down or not. I mean, we can speak to them about it a little bit later, but what they're doing now, right, it's opening to the public on April 23rd, which is totally sold out. You can get tickets in the future by going to www.legacytheaterct.org, but the April 23rd is all sold out. There is going to be 28 performances, though, of their first show, which is it's the play written by Neil Simon, Barefoot in the Park. It's a romantic comedy. That's their first production, so you can purchase tickets for that. But anyway, so the COVID precautions that are being taken right now are, first of all, only 46 tickets are going to be sold per show. There's going to be, and I believe that's 50%. That's to keep people healthy. So anyway, we're just about to speak to the people involved with the Legacy Theater. So stay with us. Okay, I'm here with Keely Baston Knutson. She's the co-founder and the artistic director of the Legacy Theater. I'm so, overjoyed, excited to be here. It's been 2 years since we were here for the groundbreaking, and look at it now.
Thank you so much. Yes, we are very, very close to opening. In fact, the final touches of the courtyard are going to be put in next week. We're going to have a grass lawn in between the Stony Creek Quarry benches that you see all around. And we'll have some beautiful planting in the planters here. And then there's going to be 3 windows are going to have the museum posters within each of them. So you'll get to learn a bit about the history of this amazing theater, all the way back from the early 1900s when it was a silent picture house, then in the 20s and 30s when it became the home to the parish players for live theater, and then of course Orson Welles when he was here with the Mercury Players, and then on to the more recent and kind of iconic Stony Creek Puppet House. So it'll be a really fun place for people to kind of queue up. We'll have our 6 feet apart discs around underneath the awning so people can queue around the theater as they wait for their temperature checks. And of course, we'll have masks and we have social distance seating inside. So we'll be about 50% capacity, 6 feet apart, depending on how big the groups are that come together.
That all sounds so great. Now, I just wanted to talk about the outside a little bit. You mentioned the courtyard with the, with the beautiful Stony Creek granite benches. Now, I wanted to know about the architect. That was Mr. Who? Leonard Wyeth?
Yes, Trip Wyeth, Leonard Wyeth. He and his team with Sarah Holmes and David Peterson have done the interior, and boy, have they done an amazing job.
Can't wait to see it.
I know, you will love it.
Yeah.
The exterior was looked after by Rick Weiss from, yes, Rick...
He's from Branford, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's so involved in the community as well.
Yes.
But he was overlooking the historic aspects to make sure that everything complied with the State Historic Preservation Office. We've, of course, gotten a grant of nearly $1 million from them to restore the outside. And the facade in the front of the theater, there's white planks that have been taken off, numbered, restored, and put back on the theater in their original place like it was back at the turn of the century. So it's very special. But of course, inside, it's been completely gutted and redone to a state-of-the-art, amazing, beautiful jewel box of a theater.
I believe it. I can't wait to see it. I just wanted to point out some of the architectural features outside. It looks like you have all kinds of copper in use.
Yes. Again, they wanted everything to look very similar to the way it did in the 1920s and 30s, including the awning. In older pictures, in the Puppet House era, the awning wasn't on, but in the 20s and 30s, you'll see pictures of this awning, and we thought, oh, how wonderful to bring that back to life. Good for queuing up. There's on the outside there, it looks like there's a loading dock entrance, but it's actually a facade of it the way it used to be. Our actual loading dock has been redone to be the side, which is, obviously much more convenient to load in all your set pieces and big items. But we wanted to stay true to the look of it from, its history. So that's why we have that on the outside there.
That's fantastic. And also upstairs, I can see there's like is that the Legacy Theater cooling tower?
Right. We have the, coveted HVAC MERV 13 system during these, times with the pandemic. Because we were building during the pandemic, we were able to get what was needed, the state-of-the-art materials, and but also be able to treat any kind of airborne viruses or such with our state-of-the-art equipment. So we got in early for that MERV 13, which is now kind of hard to come by, but we've been very grateful for it so that we could open and operate.
Oh, that's terrific. That's really great. The whole thing came together, right?
It sure did. It has a way of doing that. You never know what's in store for you when you begin a project like this. But if you just keep hanging on, keep rolling that boulder up a hill, eventually you get to opening.
Yeah, you sure did. It's fantastic. And yeah, I guess, right, I mean, you would say, right, that if a person wanted to do something, right, if they put their mind to it, they can do anything, right?
Well, that's what I've been told my whole life. I think this is we're finally getting to a living example. And I'm so grateful. I mean, of course, it was so many people involved in this for so many years, right? So it really has the fingerprint of so many different people collaborating and donating and in-kind donations and design ideas. And I mean, it's just, on and on and on. So.
Also, again, right, if you want to buy tickets, it's www.legacytheaterct.org. Just a few more questions before we go in. Now, at the time that you and your partner, at the time that you got this whole process started, how did you do it, or how did you find out about this particular theater?
That's a good question. So it was 10 years ago this month that I developed the business plan for what I wanted to do with the legacy, and got some seed money and some funding, and then kind of looked around for what the different opportunities would be. And I couldn't believe that the Stony Creek Puppet House, with all of its history as a theater, was up for sale at the time. So when I discovered that and came for a visit, I was just blown away. And we'd already named the company Legacy, and to learn of its legacy and rich history, it was just kismet. So that's how we stumbled upon it, and we're so grateful. We'd done a study. We hired a web management out of New York City to do a feasibility study because we had this business plan. Was it feasible to have another professional theater in this area? And what was determined was that if we were in Branford, Madison, or Guilford, and if we had a small theater that was 350 seats or less and a teaching component, that it would be successful. And so when we found this theater was actually ready for a new owner, it was just perfect.
It was like an act of God, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that.
But at the time that you first toured it, maybe, when it was for sale,
yeah,
and you saw the holes in the roof.
Yes. Well, it's so funny because the puppet of Satan was actually greeting me at the door. They put Lucifer right there to welcome. I'm like, But there's, the history of the puppets. That's amazing, and to be one of the only places in the United States to do this art form, this Italian art form, is so cool.
It's true.
But yeah, honestly, I would be very happy doing theater in a rundown warehouse anywhere. This is beyond my wildest dreams. I keep saying it doesn't need to be this beautiful. It's really, really, really gorgeous. So we've been great every step of the way. So grateful.
That's terrific to hear all that good stuff about it. I know it. So, okay, I think we'll go inside now, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
All right, so let's go inside and stay with us as Around the Town of Branford with Henry and Frank continues our special peek at the new Legacy Theater in Stony Creek. Stay with us. Okay, we're here inside the beautifully refurbished, unbelievable, amazing Legacy Theater. And I'm speaking with the co-founder and artistic director, Keely Baston Knudsen. Now, this is the entrance that we're in right now.
This is. Folks will come in the double doors after they've had their temperature checks. And then they'll come in and greet the box office manager, Nancy Smith, here. And if they've purchased tickets, they'll just show that they have and proof of that. And then they can go on in the doors here into the theater proper. But we've got the 2 lobby restrooms. We have a wheelchair lift up to the 2nd floor for those that need it, this beautiful grand staircase, and some water fountains, and even a bottled water, a filler-upper, which is a really cool thing. A couple side entrances as well, and we've just had this box office named by Jeffrey Hoffman of Hoffman Auto, so we're grateful for that. And then once the donor wall is put on this side of the building, then we're going to have all the acknowledgement of the names of people who've donated all over the years, have been founding donors of this important landmark.
Now, I just wanted to mention that that there is trim as you come in over the door lintel, right? The beautiful Stony Creek granite, the pink granite. And then once you're inside, if you look up, and also the beautiful stairs, it's this really gorgeous, warm wood that you see here, right?
Yes, some people say it reminds them of kind of a shoreline cabin, and so it's kind of a nautical feel. But I love that it's exposed, and it gives this kind of warmth when you come in, and it's so different from what the theater looks like when you go into the theater proper. So I think it's a really nice kind of reveal of now you're in the box office lobby area and then moving in. They've done an amazing job with the architecture of this small building.
They really have. And I see that, there's these gorgeous... it's gorgeous oak wood floors, right?
Yes, yeah. That was an exciting day when I came in. Every time I come, and I come about 3 times a day, so every time I come, there's something new, some new surprise. And the day I came in, there was these beautiful floors everywhere, and these go all the way into the theater proper. Oh, the warmth and the beauty.
It's just amazing. Also, sprinklers.
Yes. I think it's funny that we've got gold sprinklers. We have sprinklers throughout the building, of course, for safety issues and whatnot, but ours are very flashy, aren't they? Very theatrical.
No, that's just what you want, of course. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. You know what I also like about it is that, all of these layers going up the beautiful ceiling, they're like steps.
They are. And what's so phenomenal about the design of this building is that the architects looked at the kind of, barn shape, and then they made raked seating for the theater. And then below the raked seating, they put the lobby. So the lobby ceiling kind of gradually goes up because we're actually underneath theater seats so that they could, kind of double dip with what space they have here, which I thought was really genius and gives such a cool feel.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's magnificent.
Yeah.
That's so cool. It really is. All right, so I think what we'll do now, if it's all right with you, after all, this is your theater. I think what we'll do, right, is, what we'll do is go up the stairs and then
Sure.
we can see the...
And go see a show.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Okay, good. All right, so please stay with us as our tour of the Legacy Theater continues. Okay, we're currently here inside the theater. We're finally made it. And after 10 years, we finally
made it.
We made it.
Exactly.
It's really gorgeous. The whole thing is in red. There's these beautiful red plush theater seats. And now, I wanted to know there's a big purple board. What's that for, Keely?
Yeah, so that's going to be worked into our theater's seating scheme. So we've got 4 that'll be considered a box seat with the divider, and 4 here with the divider. So there's actually 16 box seats total, and they're wider and more comfortable, you would imagine. So they take up less of the row because there's only 8 in each of these rows. But that's what those are for. They're dividers for the box seats. And then, of course, we have this amazing balcony over here, which is a wonderful view. And you'll see this kind of hole in the theater right before the stage, and that's the orchestra pit, but it's also a flexible space where we can put risers and have 2 rows of seating right in front of the stage, and then a 3rd row behind the bars is the wheelchair accessible seating.
That's amazing, right? I mean, it's just, it seems like all different things have been thought out and to plan for.
It's a very flexible space. I mean, the architects they're theater makers, so they understand, they really get it. And one of the things we're most proud of is this technical booth up here where they run the show. We wanted to make sure that we would be able to accommodate those that are differently abled. So if you are in a wheelchair and you're a techie, you can take this wheelchair accessible lift where that red door is. It takes you from the lobby up to the tech booth, and you can wheel on into the tech booth and run the show. And that's a very unusual feature, especially for historic theaters, but we're very excited about that. Of course, we've had, along with our other shows, we also have an outreach program called the Wheel Life Theater Troupe for those that ambulate with crutches or use wheelchairs. And we've been at the International Festival of Arts and Ideas and the Guilford Performing Arts Festival, and I've really enjoyed working with them. And so as we were building this theater, it was important to keep some of these accessibility issues in mind.
Absolutely. Now, so at this time, right, April 23rd, 2021, it's about to open to the public.
Yes.
But actually, you and the Legacy Theater, the troupe, as you call it, you've been active in the Shoreline area in Branford for years.
Yes, we have. In fact, 2 summers ago, we did the first Shakespeare on the Green in Branford. And by first, it wasn't our first, it was the first ever that's been recorded of a first ever Shakespeare in the park on the Branford Greens. We did A Midsummer Night's Dream, which was very fun. And the year before that, we were in Guilford on the Guilford Green doing Hamlet. And we've done, Broadway workshops where we've taken youth into New York City to meet casts and to go to shows. We've done all kinds of educational programs. 2018 and 2019, we were in residence at the Stony Creek Museum. So we did 9 shows over the course of that season that were indicative of shows that have been done in these very walls. Yeah. So we wanted to make sure that we would do, Pygmalion and such, Private Lives, those types of shows that were actually done here while we were in the museum setting. But it'll be thrilling now that we're actually in this theater to be able to hit on some of those.
So for all those years and all those other shows, right? You always were in various venues, right?
Yes.
But you got your own now.
Yes. And all of that was with this aim in mind. We were able to acquire the space in 2013. It was not up to code. There were so many things that we needed to do to convert it into a theater. But within that became this huge opportunity to really re-envision the space. How were we going to operate it? How were we going to best utilize it? What did we want it to look like? So it was this rare opportunity to take an historic building and keep the integrity of it on the exterior, but then gut the interior and create whatever we felt was needful for a new 2021 state-of-the-art theater during these times, including the pandemic-related things, which have been a real kind of eye-opener for lots of theaters across the world, really. How are we handling the air system? How are we taking tickets? Are they going to be paperless? And all of those types of issues. So
yeah, and of course all those extra things that you got to worry about because of the pandemic, they're all so important, right?
Yes, yep, health and safety, absolutely.
Now, I just wanted to look down at the stage for just a moment, and I see at the top of the stage, right, some red material. What's that?
So this curtain, because we didn't have very much space on stage left or stage right for the wing space, we decided to use a Venetian curtain, so it actually goes up into the fly space as opposed to out to the wings where it would bunch up. So, and it's beautiful. I think that the fabric is very elegant in the way that it's against that very bold proscenium.
That is going to be so great. Right, so right.
And one of the coolest things about it is that it's all on motorized rigging. So with the push of a button, you can decide how fast or how slow you want that curtain to go up, and it's just really fun bells and whistles. And there's you see some lighting equipment out here in the house of the theater, but once you go on stage and look up, it's just so many wonderful instruments, and there's so many speakers and lights, and it's all just this wonderful opportunity to make anything happen in this little space.
Now, I just wanted to ask you about, there's people working down on the stage. We can hear them with the saws going.
We can hear them.
So my question is, would you tell us as to what they're working on?
Yeah. So, and the reason why they wouldn't dare stop for this interview is because they're under the wire. This is the set for Barefoot in the Park, which is our first show. It's a Neil Simon hilarious comedy, and it's a relationship comedy, which I think we need something to laugh at right now. We don't need a drama right now. But, so many people, especially in March of 2020, were talking about, oh my gosh, now, my partner, who I love, is home all the time, and kind of getting to know them again in that space. And I feel like these newlyweds in this play are kind of going through that as well. They've been dating for so long, but now they're married. And so how do they navigate real life at the same time as keeping their romance alive? So I think that in that way, it's kind of a fun way to look at what we've all been through in the pandemic or may have been through. But this set is being put up. Rich Burkham is on the ladder there. He's the technical director, and he took the designs by Jamie Burnett and is making them come to life. One of my favorite parts is that skylight has a broken pane in it because at one point, it's a shabby apartment is the joke, and at one point it starts snowing, and the snow actually goes down on the couch where the husband is, of course, sleeping because they've been in a fight. So it's just a beautiful. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous, and you'll see it transform. If you come to see the show, you'll see a very different iteration of it.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be just spectacular. Now, April 23rd, when the theater opens, any questions? Anybody want to buy tickets? It's www.legacytheaterct.org.
That's right. And theater with an R-E is how we spell it. So yeah. That's the website address.
Now, I just wanted to know some information because the first show, right? There's a special star that's going to be here, right? Who's that?
His name is Telly Leung. He is this phenomenal Asian performer who I saw play Aladdin on Broadway years ago, and he's been on Glee. He's done so much work, and people just love him. And he's giving a solo concert. And he's bringing his musical accompanist is Gary, who's been in lots of Broadway pits as well. And so it'll be an incredible concert, and it's just going to be so intimate right here in this space. The 46 of us that have got tickets will really enjoy this kind of intimate experience.
Now, as far as tickets go, I understand that you can purchase tickets to come in person, but you can also buy tickets to to watch at home. Is that right?
Well, that's true. So we did sell out because of the social distancing requirements. We did sell out the number of seats that we're allowed to have.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
So we did sell out the number of seats we're allowed to have here, which ended up for that evening being 46. But people were so interested in seeing Telly Leung. He's got a lot of fans that we decided that we're going to video the concert. So it will be, you can get tickets to watch it virtually. So starting May 1st, we'll release that link to those who have purchased the virtual tickets. So those are, about, more than 50% off to see it virtually. And then you can have that link for the month of May to enjoy the concert.
That's great. Now, also, right, you spoke before that the first show is going to be, right, the Neil Simon Barefoot in the Park.
Yes.
Now, I wanted to know if this is true, that this was in the newspaper. It said there's going to be 28 performances of that here. Is that right?
Yes, we have a very ambitious schedule. Because we can only have so few people in the theater at a time, we wanted to give many opportunities for the show to play. So we actually have a 7-show week. We have Wednesday nights, Thursday matinee and evening, Friday nights, Saturday matinee and evening, and Sunday matinees. So that gives people plenty of time to be able to come and see it, but not feel that they'll be cramped or compromised. So yes, all of our main stage shows are 28 performances. So that's starting out with Barefoot in the Park. Then we move to the world premiere of a musical called Just Desserts, which is very funny. And then we go the opposite direction in all ways, and we do Oedipus Rex, which will be a gorgeous performance. I'm working now with a musician out of Turkey.
That's Greek, right?
Yes. Yes, Sophocles, back in the 400s. Yes.
Yeah, the 400s.
Yes, BC. So that's, 2 millennia ago. And it's still, what's wild about it is it's probably more on the nose than any of our shows that we're doing. It took place during a pandemic, and then we've got these leaders that are, questionable. All kinds of stuff is very on the nose.
Yeah.
And then our fourth one is called The Last 5 Years. It's by Jason Robert Brown. It's a relationship musical. And then in December, we do A Christmas Carol. So, and that one's, it's funny how
Charles Dickens.
Yes, people have already been buying so many tickets to see A Christmas Carol, even though it's in December. But it's exciting. It's great to see the ticket sales come in.
No, it's true. Okay, so it's www.legacytheaterct.org. Now, this whole complex, right? Because there's the campus that we're on, right? There's the artist colony or the cottage across the way here. Mm-hmm. But it's a very ambitious program. It's not just plays. What they wanted to do is that they plan to bring, of course, play productions. Also, they want to do. They're also looking to do concerts. I believe I saw outside on your poster coming attractions that you're going to be showing a film in here.
Yes.
So I mean, it's for all the arts, right? I mean, it's for
does
theater.
Cover a big gamut. Yes, but the Broadway concerts, those are for people who have Broadway credits, but have solo shows as well. They're going to sing their solo concerts for us in this space. So we get visiting artists that are just the highest caliber that are coming, which is going to be a real thrill to see those dozen performers that come through every once in a while.
And also, right? Also, the whole program includes children too, right?
We do have a family series, Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Our first one is such a fun musical. It's called Polka Dots, the Cool Kids musical. And it's actually an anti-racist musical, which is really great. It's the square people and the polka dot people, and the polka dot moves into the square school. And so the children have to kind of come to terms with that. But it's a wonderful, talented cast and great music by Douglas Lyons, who was a West Haven native. So, but he's also been off to do many Broadway shows and now writes for Fraggle Rock. But he's coming to do a talkback on that second Saturday in May, which will be really thrilling for Mother's Day weekend.
That's wonderful. Okay, so again, just be sure you keep that website in mind. And all this work for 10 years, Kelly and her partner, they've worked hard. So now, right, it's up to you. It's your time. You have to do your part and support this terrific program. It's going to be a very busy place, isn't it?
I hope so. And of course, I'm grateful that we're able to create a season where if we only have 25% capacity, we're still making our budget. We created our full season budget based on 25% capacity. So,
smart.
So because we were going through the pandemic and we were building our operational system and our budget at the same time, we had that, opportunity to do it that way. But
all right. That's great. Okay, now I just wanted to mention that These are beautiful red plush seats, which I'd like to, to actually try one. And then after this, after we leave the theater, then we're going upstairs to the 2 new dressing rooms up there behind the stage. So you're gonna see that next, all right?
All right, thank you. Yeah, have a seat.
Let me just
Very
see how it
comfortable.
feels. All right, I'm beginning to get down into it. And I'm really sinking way down. I'm so comfortable. There's plenty of room for my legs. I got a fantastic view. Correct, there's no columns or anything that's in the way. People that are in this row, I can tell, they aren't going to block my view. It's just, and the beautiful wooden ceiling up above us here, it's just magnificent. You did a fantastic job. It's a fantastic theater. Okay, so let's go upstairs now, up behind the stage, and there's 2 brand new dressing rooms we're going to see next. Stay with us. Okay, we just climbed up the stairs, and we're presently upstairs and up behind the main stage. The workers are still down below working on the first play, which is going to be the Neil Simon comedy, The Barefoot in the Park, and there's going to be 28 performances of that. And you can get your tickets at www.legacytheaterct.org. And I'm still with the co-founder and artistic director of the Legacy Theater, Keely Basden Knudsen. Would you give us a little tour of the dressing room?
Yeah, so we have 3 dressing rooms total. The first one is downstairs, and it's a wheelchair accessible dressing room that was named after James Roday Rodriguez, who is one of our donors, and we adore his work. And then upstairs is where, and if you've come to the Puppet House when it was the Puppet House, you'll remember the spiral staircases that would take you up to the dressing rooms. Well, we don't have the spiral staircase anymore, but we do have the 2 upstairs dressing rooms in the same locations where they were, which is kind of neat. Although these are, brand new. We've got counter spaces that can actually flip down in case we want to use the space for rods for costumes. We have a shower that's here. That's for equity standards. We needed to make sure for a union house that we had a shower for our performers. And then we have a sink and these LED lights for when you walk in that light up. And there's another dressing room that's right next door to this one, and it's very similar. The only difference is it has a slanted ceiling, so it gives it a little bit of a different look, and there's windows overlooking the Stony Creek streets in both dressing rooms.
That's great. Well, it's a fantastic dressing room. If you look up above our heads, it's sprinkled.
Yeah, very safe. But it's got kind of a cool industrial feel in here as well. And then as soon as you open the doors, you're in this hallway that overlooks the stage itself. And during showtime, there'll be a curtain that masks all of that. But during rehearsals, it's very handy to be able to, look over the railing and see where everybody is. We also have a sound system that you can turn on that in the speaker in the ceiling, it'll play what's happening on stage so you can hear if you have a cue coming up, but you're doing a quick change or something like that.
That's amazing. Now, also, I see some vents on the ceiling. So, when it's warm down here, right, you got the air conditioning?
We sure do. We've got a robust air conditioning and a heating system.
Yeah, you got that. And, right, as you said before, you got the
recycled air.
The MERV filters.
Yes.
So people don't have to worry about catching coronavirus.
That's right. It actually kills viruses in the air, which I just find remarkable. So we'll be very grateful for that when we have a closed door in this dressing room, and we'll have the plexiglass up between each station for the actors. But it'll be really nice to know that, there's the air is getting cleansed as it recycles.
Yeah, that's right. It's extremely important. Also, I just want to go down to the main stage and just look out, with the camera at the beautiful auditorium.
Yeah. See your view as an actor on the stage, of course.
And then after that, now, right, there's a chance you might have a concern about parking, because after all, it's in Stony Creek, there isn't that much parking on street. So they have a plan, just like for everything else, they have a plan for that, and that's going to be coming up soon too. So, okay, but it's a fantastic view from the stage looking out at all the rows of seats. So that's our next peek here at the fantastic, totally restored Legacy Theater in Stony Creek. Stay with us. Okay, we're continuing our program. We're standing here in the pit, the orchestra pit, and we're in the beautiful, refurbished, and fantastic Legacy Theater here in Stony Creek. And I'm still with the co-founder and artistic director, Keely Baston Knutson, and also we're joined now with Todd Renz from ORL Construction in Branford. So let me talk with you for a moment, Todd. So, I mean, how did this project go?
Well, this project had a long pre-construction period. This was the building that had been there for 100 years that didn't have a whole lot of maintenance, so that we started looking at the building and what the Legacy Theater had designed preliminary. And in that period, we kind of came up with that there needed to be a lot of work underground and basically rebuild the entire foundation, lift up the building, keep the main building here for historical purposes, and basically reinforce the entire structure. Had to deal with groundwater, so we put a water barrier beneath this to dewater it. We brought up anything that could be affected above the water barrier, and then we have a series of pumps and drainage system underneath this. So there is a lot that you kind of don't see beneath the ground, and then of course what you see above here, which Keely has given you a tour, is just a lot of design, a lot of input from Keely and Stephanie in terms of what their experience and what they need, and the whole team that they put together. They have put in a lot of time and a lot of details gone into this project, more so than the typical project we're involved in. So it's a lot of planning. The planning period was, let's put it into perspective, was probably 4 to 5 times longer than the construction. So it was a planning period of over 5 years, and the construction period was about 1.5 years, as it gets going. So that kind of tells you to have a project like this. And then during the construction, the design team, which was headed by Tripp, he was out here constantly. He was trying to pick up every little bit of a dimension in this theater, as you could see, to get the 127 seats.
Yeah.
Everything had to fit just so. He's very concerned about a very good vapor barrier and insulation, so that this is will not take a lot of energy to operate this theater. It's got a lot of design went into that and engineering. And then in addition to electrical with all LED lighting, we would only have a small heater in the coldest days in the winter, and this building would be warm. So that tells you something. So, the biggest issue they'll have is in the summer is with heat load, but you won't need a lot to bring it down and hold temperature because of the way the building's been insulated.
Wow.
So there's a lot, and I can get into probably way more detail than we have time for today, but that's a quick overview of what's happened.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, so many years, so much thought was put into this, and it's about to pay off, right?
Oh, well, I hear, and kicking myself for not signing up for more of the upcoming procedure or productions, because they're all sold out. So I think everybody is starved for some entertainment and getting out to something is a high quality as this. So I think it's just great. I think the timing and having something like this happen over the last 12 months period when the whole world kind of slowed down due to the COVID pandemic. I think that, there are some good things that came out of it, and this is one of them. But
throughout the pandemic, you kept working on it, right?
We did. We had to abide by all the, CDC and Connecticut COVID guidelines, which we, of course, did. And knock on wood, we were very fortunate we didn't have any incidents here. We had all kinds of extra washing stations, and we made sure air changes happened. And it was good.
That paid off too, Todd.
It did. And I think, and from the perspective of the people that were working, they were very happy to be working. And I think we all felt very fortunate to have that sense of purpose in a time when you couldn't be going anywhere, so you might as well be working.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting process and a fun project to be a part of.
I'm sure, Todd. Thanks very much for being with us. Todd Renz from Branford's ORL Construction.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. And if you look at the pandemic, this is a great time to open the Legacy Theater, right?
I mean, people are very interested in having a live experience at this point, and I'm hearing that when people call into the box office that they have been vaccinated and they say they've been very safe throughout, this past year, but now they're ready. They're ready to get out. They're ready to be, not virtual everything and
start living again.
Yeah, start living again. And thank goodness ORNL, which is Branford based, has been.
Yeah.
I mean, Todd has been a supporter of Legacy from the very beginning. I mean, he and his family have been so helpful and generous, and ORNL came in with a competitive bid, and they've done an amazing job, and I couldn't recommend them more highly. I mean, I just couldn't. They're amazing.
That's true. I mean, if you look around at all the details where everything fits together, all the beautiful colors, woods, everything, it was a fantastic job. Todd.
Well, we're pleased to have been a part of it, and we're fortunate that we had a very good team, Keeley being part of it, and I think that everyone was very like-minded. We wanted to make sure it was done right and that we didn't miss any steps along the way, and those little extra efforts were always put in as the project progressed. And interestingly enough, it doesn't take a little bit more to get that level, and so everybody that was part of the team felt that way. So I think that we're able to achieve that outcome. And I think a year and a half ago, as the project was beginning, I didn't quite envision this. This to me is very special.
Right, Todd. It's beyond belief, really, how fantastic it turned out. You know what? As you said, though, didn't it make the difference? So many people put their hearts into it. Right?
Labor of love, yes.
Yeah.
That's what you were saying, right?
Yep. A lot of people really, put their passion, and they took, their highest level of craft, and they all applied it here.
Yeah, I can see why, right? Everybody wanted excellence, right, Keeley?
Absolutely. We've got it.
And that's what we got. All right, so thank you so much for being with us again,
You're
Todd.
welcome. Thanks for inviting me down. It made my Friday afternoon.
Also, too, now the plan is to go outside and talk about parking, but just before we go, he's pointing the camera up at that beautiful wood ceiling. What's the significance of that, Keeley?
So at one point in the design process, we were talking about how we wanted the lighting and the sound instruments that were above the house to be kind of masked in a way. And at one point, somebody came to the table with this drawing, and this kind of pitched the idea of having this really unusual ceiling. And we went for it, and we thought it'll really help with the acoustics, but also with hiding certain lighting instruments and just making it a really kind of interesting and unique talking point. But once it actually got put in, it really has been such a focal point of what this theater has become. It's very definitive, and it's just beautiful. It's also kind of gives a nod to the fact that we're by the shoreline. It's kind of got a nautical feel to it.
It does, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Okay, well, anyway, so the plan now is to go outside, and we're going to talk about parking. So stay with us as Around the Town of Branford with Henry and Frank continues. Okay, we're back outside now here at 128 Thimble Islands Road in front of the historic, built in 1903 theater, and totally rebuilt from 2015 to 2021.
Yeah, it has been a long haul. But look what we did.
I know, look at it. It's so fantastic. Okay, so now, there's concerns with the residents buying tickets. Oh, the coronavirus. But you've addressed that, okay? First of all, the whole theater is only going to be half used, right?
Correct, yes. Well, even less than half. We were allowed to do up to 50% capacity, but because of social distancing, it ends up being even less than 50%.
Okay, so, and then they got the air filters in there. So as far as coronavirus, yes, it's a concern, but it's been addressed as much as possible here at the Legacy Theater. Now, the other concern could be, the parking in Stony Creek. There really isn't too much parking. If I buy a ticket and come down to one of those 28 performances of Neil Simon's Barefoot in the Park, for example, I don't know where I'm going to park. So would you please explain the parking system that you've designed?
Yes, and it is a system, and because that's a very real concern. We're in the middle of a neighborhood here, so it's not like we're in a strip mall or something. We have to be really concerned about our neighbors and take good care of them. So we will have parking ambassadors. We're going to have a parking ambassador on both sides of the street that will help you know where the on-limit and the off-limit parking is. We have a shuttle, the Legacy Theater shuttle. It's going to be going from exit 56 at the commuter lot, taking you down here, dropping you off at the theater, and then going back to get more patrons. You can also park at the Stony Creek Museum, which is a great place to visit, by the way. It has 2 of the puppets from the old Puppet House days actually hanging in there on loan from the Shays. But you can park there, and it's only a 3-minute sidewalk walk to the theater. But if you're not feeling up to taking that walk, or it's not a good weather day, the shuttle will also pick you up from there and bring you here as well. There are some on-street parking spots, but there's not a ton of them. So we want to make sure that our patrons are comfortable and get to the show on time, but can get here in a way that makes them comfortable.
Okay, now the parking lot up at exit 56, would you tell me what time does the shuttle start to run?
So we'll be picking people up 30 to 20 minutes before curtain, and we'll just keep making rotations. We have 3 different parking ambassadors that will be in close contact with our house manager, and so our house manager will be able to know if we've got more people that are expecting to take the shuttle down, so they can hold the curtain if need be. But it's going to be a very tight system where everyone's in communication with the shuttle driver and the parking ambassadors and the house manager.
That's amazing too, right? Every detail, every theater possibility, everything that has been thought of by Keeley has been wonderful. Now, after the show is over, how does that work? You go back the same way?
We go back the same way. So there's actually an area on the campus of the theater where the shuttle can pick you up right at the theater and then take you back. So if you need to kind of queue, we've got a lovely courtyard with some seating areas, and then also some coverage with the awning. And there's some windows that talk about the history of the theater there. So hopefully it's a lovely place to wait if you do need to wait for your shuttle service to pick you up.
Okay, now speaking of the history, there's 2 windows here in the front. This is the front, the main entrance. This is where you go in to watch your plays, to see the movies, to hear the music. All kinds of events, activities are going to be here. So this is the front. Now there's the 2 windows which have just been installed. I mean, what are they going to be used for?
So these vitrines are really special. They're in the exact same place where they were back when Orson Welles stood right about where you're standing with his cast for the play Too Much Johnson by William Gillette. And his notice for the theater and how much it cost, his poster to advertise it, was in that same spot that vitrine is. So we've got some history there. In that vitrine, we're going to have the season at a glance, so you'll get to see all the shows that are happening chronologically throughout the year, including our family series, the Broadway series, the main stage series, and the classes and camps. And then here, we're going to have a big poster that has pictures of the theater throughout the years. So you'll see what it looked like when it was, 1903. You'll see what it looked like in the 1940s, 50s, 60s. And then you'll see it today, because you'll be standing in front of it. And we hope that our patrons take selfies and then hashtag away and post it all over social media so they can have this moment of history where the legacy is re-envisioned and they're a part of that.
Wow, it's really so great from top to bottom, inside and out, left to right, just amazing. You and your partner have done a fantastic job, and it's going to be great to have live theater in Stony Creek again.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's been a long tradition of happening, and we're so thrilled that we were able to swoop in on it and to make sure that the legacy lives on.
Yeah, that's true. The legacy lives on. Yeah, that's a great way to end the program. So thank you so much for the tour, showing us all the wonderful stuff down here. It's really totally unbelievable. And again, as I said before, Keeley and her staff and her partner, they made the effort, a huge effort, over 10 years. And so now it's your turn to do your part and to support this wonderful theater. And I don't know if people have experienced live theater too much, because there isn't that much in the area, really, if you think about it. So, you should try it if you haven't before. You might find that you just love it. and that you can't get enough of it. And that's what Keely hopes happens, right?
This is, I'm going to take him with me. He's the best salesman for the theater I've ever met.
That's good. Oh, good. Thank you. That's great to hear.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for your time
you're
and your
welcome.
willingness and your passion for it as well. I definitely share the sentiment. So thanks so much.
Oh, thank you too. Okay, so we've been here today, the co-founder and artistic director, Keely Basden Knudsen. She's an award-winning actress, director, choreographer. How do you pronounce it? Choreographer, and
Dance teacher.
Dance teacher, and also it's stated in the newspaper, that great article by Pam Johnson, The Sound, that you're a professor.
Yes, I've been teaching at Quinnipiac University since 2002. Can you believe it? That long.
Wow.
Yeah, so I have acting students there that actually have been helping a legacy as interns all along the way.
Okay, and we also have to give thanks to Stephanie Stiefel, William. She's the board chair and co-founder. She's an actress and former attorney. Now, she's going to be acting down here, right?
Yes, she'll be in the first 2 shows for sure, and you'll probably see a lot of her. She's phenomenal. Such a great comic actress and a gorgeous, one-of-a-kind voice. And was a former Miss Connecticut, I should add, too. So she's not tough on the eyes.
Not tough on the eyes. That's great to hear. Okay, so it's been great to be with you today. And, we got some more good programs coming up. So you should keep your channel tuned to BCTV. And until next time, I'm Frank Tuhill. I'm here from around the town of Branford with Henry and Frank. Until next time, goodbye.